the frozen embryo transfer and the duration of the frozen embryo transfer, including the preparation of the endometrium, depends on if it is a natural cycle or if it is a medicated cycle. On a medicated cycle, which is more oftenly used, we prefer to give about 12 to 18 days of estrogen, ideally, before we start the progesterone. And it depends on if we have day 3 embryos or day 5 embryos frozen. If we have day 3 embryos frozen, we give 3 days of progesterone. If we have day 5 embryos, we give 5 days of progesterone. So in total, from the beginning of the cycle, the whole preparation may last between 16 to 20 days before the time of the embryo transfer. The embryo transfer itself is a procedure that lasts about 5 to 10 minutes if we don't have any problems passing the catheter, so it is a very straightforward procedure. The same thing sometimes happens in a natural cycle as well. We observe a follicle which usually gets big enough to ovulate in about 12 to 16 days, depending on how many days cycle the woman has. And then again, the embryo transfer can happen about 5 days later if we are talking about blastocysts. Sometimes we prefer to downregulate first the ovaries before we start stimulate them. And at our unit, this usually happens with an injection, which is called GnRH analog, and is given 21 days after the previous period. So usually the way it goes is 21 days after the previous period, we give the injection. 14 days later, they have an initial scan. They take estrogen for about 14 days. They have a repeat scan, and 5 days later, they have the embryo transfer.